Welcome back, everyone. Part two. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. So this is a sequel to my video, How Many Cardano Should You Have? Um, Thanks for all the support for that video. It really blew up. I didn't expect it to get that many views. So thank you. So I heard a lot from a lot of the comments that people wanted it to be made a series and for me to do this video again and provide updates and look at the statistics. I'm constantly looking at the statistics myself, so I might as well publish it. Um, so before we start, I wanted to thank a couple people again today. So first off, of course, I want to thank Ruslan, also known as vantuz-subhuman. So he's responsible for the statistics in the GitHub repository. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to analyze any stats because he's the one scraping the UTXO distribution, which is the unspent transaction distribution in the Cardano settlement layer. So the second person I want to thank today is Marcus, because he's going to be the responsible for, he's known as werkof in the Cardano forum. So if you see him around there, tell him thank you. He's going to be responsible for the visual representation, the first visual representation today. And pretty much the whole premise I've had for this video. He did an amazing job. The aesthetics and the visual representation of his stats are very clean. And thank you for everyone in the Cardano community just putting so much energy and so much passion into everything that they're doing. So go ahead and reach out to him and thank him as well. I'm going to link his charts below. So before I start this video, I wanted to make some corrections to my previous video. So you can look at the previous video, the how many Cardano should you have video, and you see that I pinned a comment from vantuz-subhuman. So vantuz-subhuman or Ruslan let me know that the UTXO model distribution that I was analyzing in my graph, a single address doesn't always equate to a single wallet. So it could basically contain multiple addresses where each address has its own balance. So it's impossible to know if some two addresses are the same wallet for anyone except the owner of this wallet. And of course there are some exceptions in rare cases. So given that, there's going to be a slight shift in the chart. It's going to slightly shift to the right of the chart. So that basically means that the mean would move over a little bit to the right. So in statistics, that would mean that the tail would be longer on the left. So it would be considered skewed to the left. But the statistics that I was analyzing at the point, I still feel like it was an accurate representation of the Cardano ecosystem, more or less. There might be some skewed data to a certain quadrant in that graph. Also, he let me know that as the balances of addresses go up, the chance for multiple owners to have multiple wallets goes exponentially down because, for example, Cardano addresses with less than 1 ADA, there is a very high chance that there are multiple people that have multiple addresses with less than 1 ADA. But the chance goes down as you hold more ADA. So meaning that, someone with 10K in 10K ADA in their wallet will probably not have multiple 10K addresses. And when you have 100K, the chances go down even more. If you have 1 million or you have 10 million or you have 100 million, it exponentially goes down the chances for gigantic wallets to have multiple wallets in that size range. So basically the higher the bigger the wallet that we analyze, the more accurate it's going to be, because those wallets have a much smaller chance of actually having multiple, maybe $1-million wallets or multiple multi-million-dollar wallets. So that was the point about the millionaire distribution that I was looking at. So, without further ado, this is today's video, and here is the visual representation that Marcus or werkof has worked on, and basically it scrapes the GitHub repository of vantuz-subhuman, and it visually represents the UTXO distribution, the wallet distribution. So a couple things that I want to preface this video with is this whole idea of whale. So, are you a whale in the Cardano ecosystem? Everybody wants to be a whale. Everyone thinks that the whales move markets. And, this definitely is true. They have the most power in the ecosystem, especially when you're looking at other cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. Every time you hear of a price drop, you're like, oh, the whales must be dumping. Everyone is scared of the whales because they control the ocean. So one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video is, even if you never become a whale, but if you have aspirations to become a bigger fish in the ocean, here's a way of looking at it and maybe seeing where you can place yourself to be a bigger fish. And remember, everyone starts off, unless you have already a lot of money in crypto, or you have a lot of money outside of crypto, a lot of fiat. Everyone's going to start off at a particular starting point, but doesn't mean if you hold this starting point for a long time that you won't be able to maybe grow another gill, or grow in size in the ocean. And this is not financial advice. This is just how I look at myself in the Cardano ecosystem, um, and where I want to be in years time, or whenever time I'm looking at to um, see exactly how my holdings have matured. So that being said, I feel like this is a great graph because, first of all, it's very dynamic. It's not static whatsoever. So you can move your mouse around, and basically you can see at every single data point or every single date the UTXO distribution of this graph. And this is why I've named this video, Are You a Whale? Because in this visual representation, it really shows you exactly what species of fish you are in the ocean. And I like to describe this the best as the whale to minnow. So the top addresses that greater than 1 billion ADA, we're talking about the Binance wallet and the IOHK wallet. And I believe there's one more mega whale exactly. Yes, see, at this date, there's three greater than 1 billion ADA addresses. And I like to, there's a little visual representation of a little question mark, but I like to visualize these wallets as the blue whales of the ocean. So the largest species of the largest animal basically in the ocean, basically in the world. And, the blue whale is, I like to visualize them as the blue whale because they're not going to go and dump on everyone. As If you're familiar with blue whales, or you've watched any of these nature documentaries, the blue whales kind of just swim through the ocean and just eat krill, but they really don't bother anyone. And I like to describe that as those greater than 1 billion ADA addresses, because obviously one of them is IOHK, and they can't dump. If you look at the initial distribution, IOHK is contracted to release ADA at some certain point. Even Charles Hoskinson's ADA is locked away until 2020 and beyond. No one's going to be dumping from this group. Binance as well, the Binance wallet, what are they going to do? Sell all their greater than 1 billion ADA? That doesn't make sense. This is an amalgamation of all the ADA that they have currently. So these blue whales, they're less likely to affect the markets. They are the foundation of this crypto project. They are what keeps Cardano going, and they're not going to dump on anyone. They're just going to swim along and not harm anyone and collect the krill. That's it. So the next stage is the whales, what I like to consider whales. And there are quite a few whales. And this graph shows you exactly what range these whales are. So we're going to move all the way basically to the last possible date. So this is 810. I am analyzing this data on the 10th of August. So we have um, whale distribution. Let me see if I can get my mouse to stay correctly. All right, so we have whale distribution from 1 million ADA to 1 billion ADA. So we have around, I would say, 3,700, 3,800 addresses where I would consider a whale. So if you have between 1 million and 1 billion ADA, you are a whale. And at prices of, let's say, 11 cents, you know, if you have right now, if you're sitting right now with greater than $100,000 of fiat in Cardano, your current valuation of Cardano, if you cash out right now, you would get well over $100,000. You're probably a whale. You're probably a whale in this current market. So anywhere from 1 million to 1 billion ADA on your wallet, you are a whale and you move markets. Of course, the 100 million to 1 billion are going to move markets in a greater way than the 1 million to 10 million, but you still move markets. And let me preface this also by saying that if you see this UTXO distribution right here, if you follow it along, you see that the rate of the whales is like between the 10 million and 100 million branch, it stays at 220, 224, 220. It stays right around there. So there may be a couple people, one or two, that maybe liquidate some assets, maybe towards the 10 million mark. But people that are greater than 10 million, greater than 50 million or greater than 20 million ADA, all the way to 1 billion, that 220 maybe plus 13, they're less likely to dump because they're probably the biggest investors in this crypto project and they are going to follow it until the end. These are big time investors here. So I would say that the whales between 1 million to 10 million ADA are probably the ones dumping constantly. Um, as you can see, even with this, they've been growing, but sometimes they grow, sometimes sometimes the number appreciates, sometimes the number depreciates. So whatever the case is, people seem to be the whale category starts at 1 million. So after this, I want to the whales, they turn into sharks. So sharks, of course, are not as big as whales, but they are Goliaths in the ocean, and I feel like there are two categories of sharks. So you have the I would say the 10K to 100K ADA. I would describe them as bull sharks. They're not the most aggressive. They kind of swim around in shallow waters, but they can cause a little bit of disruption here and there. But once again, they're not the biggest sharks in the ocean currently. And then the 100K to 1 million ADA, I would consider those the great white sharks. They cause a little bit of frenzy. But, at the same time, if they dump 500,000 ADA or a million ADA, they cause frenzy, but the ocean returns to its natural state pretty quickly. But they are sharks and they can scare people. Not in the same way that whales can, but they can scare people. And I would say the scariest ones are probably the 100K to 1 million. They're probably the ones constantly dumping and moving from this to that. As you can see from here, it went from 18,000 to 19,000 to back to 18,000. So you see 1,000 people dumped that had between 100,000 ADA and a million ADA. So this is probably the most liquid category as far as moving markets or people that are just constantly day trading or whatnot. I would say that they're within that range. The next category we have are the dolphins. The dolphins are, I would consider the dolphins beautiful. The dolphins are beautiful in the ocean, but they're not sharks, but these are the ones that are setting up their pod, they're creating their investment to really last long in this ecosystem. And of course, there's different types of dolphins. The dolphins between 1K and 10K ADA are the ones that are getting into the platform, and this is very early on, and they're really creating their little Cardano nest egg. And you know, anywhere your dolphin anywhere from 1 to 10K. And obviously the top dolphin category, if you hold between 1,000 and 10,000 ADA, you are a dolphin, and eventually you will mature and maybe you will evolve to a shark. You know, the one between 1 and 10 ADA, that's more or less negligible. At this point at these prices, because ADA right now is around uh, I don't know, 11, 12 cents. So even if you hold 10 ADA, you know, that's like a few dollars. But at the same time, you know, what this category is also showing is that this Cardano ecosystem is going to evolve. So eventually everyone moves up. If you hold long enough, this is not financial advice, but if you hold long enough, your bucket may change. If Cardano goes up, your bucket will change. Maybe you will evolve to a different fish species. And then, of course, underneath the 1 ADA, we have the little fish that do not hold 1 ADA. They hold Lovelace. But in the future, Lovelace may be worth a lot more than what it's worth now. And you remember, Lovelace is 1 million Lovelace equals 1 ADA. So these are the fishes and the minnows here at the bottom. So anywhere from less than 10 Lovelaces to 1,000,008 Lovelaces, these are the fishes and the minnows. And like I was saying before, vantuz-subhuman in his comment, he basically described this as dust, and that's a perfect analogy. So a lot of wallets have this extra dust. So you may have multiple wallets, and you have a wallet with like 0.3 ADA, 0.03 ADA, and that corresponds to a certain number of Lovelace. So I thought this is a very interesting graph. So the next thing we're going to be talking about are what are these lines here that have significations that are significant. So for example, you see here the release of 0.8.4 plus the Cardano settlement layer 1.03. You have right here an event that's called Binance defragmentation. So as you can see, there's been an upward trend ever since the genesis over in at the end of September, beginning of October. It's been an upward trend. So at the release of this date, so every major release in Cardano is like a timestamp, and you can see how it affected the unspent transaction distribution in Cardano. So even through these bear markets, you see that the Cardano ecosystem is growing. You may ask, why is there this big downwards slope in the data and the Binance defragmentation? What does that mean? And it's around the date was in February. Why is there this big drop off? So it's been explained that the Binance defragmentation was actually an event by Binance that they basically consolidated. You can see you can summarize it as a consolidation of wallet addresses, and it was an instant thing. So maybe they had too many wallets and they combined them. They combined a whole bunch of wallets, and it was Binance that did this. It wasn't that there was a major drop off in Cardano holders or a major sell off. It was more like Binance on their end combined all their wallets and migrated them all into maybe single addresses, or just combine the superfluous wallets. So that's why there's this big drop off here. But even in the bear market, there seems to be there are slight little drops here and there, but for the most part, it has been increasing. The Daedalus and the Cardano 1.3 that was just released, as you can see, the number of unspent transactions is continuously going up. So, you know, you have a lot of different events here. You have all the Daedalus upgrades. You have the KEVM release. You have the yellow release. So you can really play around with this to see exactly what is going on. Another cool feature about this graph is that when we go down to this, we can say show legend, for example. So it has all the data subsets, all the little branches of the UTXO distribution, so you can really sort it out. So for example, we're going to go ahead and analyze one category. So I always said that the 1 million to 10 million ADA was probably a large dumping ground. And especially also the 100,000 to 1 million. So we can analyze exactly the wallet distribution for specific for for specific buckets. So let us um, let us analyze the 1 million to 10 million ADA, and you can see throughout the time, as you can see, there's a lot of fluctuation within this category. So that signifies that people within the 1 million to 10 million ADA, they do dump occasionally, and that's maybe what moves prices. They may be some sort of market mover as well. So when all the sharks come together and start dumping their ADA, they are they may decrease the number of unspent the UTXO distribution here. As you can see, there is a slight decrease here, and there's a slight decrease in May as well. You can see it for any particular bucket. I also said that the 100K to 1 million ADA was also might have been a dumping ground as well. As you can see, there's a couple dumps here. It seems that people within the 100K to 1 million ADA have continuously been accumulating ADA, and seems like they're holding on to it. Let's check out the 10K to 100K and see how people are dealing with this. It seems that people are accumulating as well. And as you can see, once you go to the higher echelon, so if you go to the 100 million to 1 billion, there's a little bit of distribution here and there. Some people are dumping, so I'm not sure about that. But if you go to the one greater than 1 billion ADA, like I was saying before, that Binance and the IOHK, as you can see, they just hold on to their ADA. They're not really the blue whales are not really dumping on everyone. So this is a very interesting thing to look at. You can also, if you want to clear all, and if too many balloons is a little bit distracting to you, you can just show one balloon for a data point. So for example, you can click here and it's color coordinated, so you can find out where the whales, the sharks, the dolphins, and the blue whales and the killer whales and everything is, so you can see exactly and at every single data point. So this is a great graph. Thank you so much, Werkof. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think about this graph. I'm going to go now switch over to the Excel document that I was using before, just to see whether or not the distribution has changed for the averages, the mean averages for August 10th. So I just want to see exactly whether or not that information has changed. So I'm going to switch screens quickly. Welcome everyone. So this is the graph that I was using last video, and once again, this is not financial advice. This is just a statistical analysis of the Cardano sentiment layer, the unspent transactions. Thank you again to vantuz-subhuman. So I have the stats dump for August 10th, and we're going to see if any of the buckets change to see if there are new big addresses or what's the effect on the ecosystem. So once again, we have a total of 266,342 unspent transactions that are marked. And like I was saying before, vantuz-subhuman was saying that one person could have multiple addresses. So it's not necessarily each wallet address represents one person. So, but there are right now there are no ways to figure out exactly. Person A has 5 addresses, person B has 12, so we do not know. But we're just going to go based on this and take the averages. That's all we're going to do. So we have a total of 266,342 in bucket 15. This is basically the one between 1 million and I'm sorry, the 1 billion and 10 billion ADA. We still have 3 addresses. Between 100 million ADA and 1 billion ADA, we still have 13 addresses. Between 10 million and 100 million ADA, we have 224, so we gain 3 addresses that are basically mega whales. And like Vantuz was saying before, the addresses that have more ADA in their wallet, chances are that they have, the addresses that have more ADA in their wallet, chances are that it's probably a single person. It's probably less likely of a chance that one person owns like 150 million ADA addresses. It's probably one person, one address as you go higher in the whale distribution. So we're going to change this number to 224, so gain 3. And here we have the 1 million to 10 million ADA. We have 3414, so we gained 7. 3414, we gained 7. And in this bucket, between the 100,000 and 1 million, we have 19,481. So we gained quite a few. 81. Okay. So in that next bucket, I believe this is 10,000 to 100,000. We went to 36,971. So we gained quite a few, several hundred. In the next bucket, 1,000 ADA to 10,000 ADA, we gained, it's 71,000 now, 677. So we have gained. In this next bucket, 100 to 1,000, we have gained, we're up to 60,220. In the next bucket, 10 to 100, we have gained, we're up to 20,493. In this next bucket, from 1 million Lovelace to 10 ADA, we have gained as well. We are up to 12,119. So basically, there's a lot of these wallets are dust. So one person could own a lot of these smaller wallets here. The next one, between 100,000 Lovelace and 1 million Lovelace, we are at 14,114. And the next category, 10,000 to 100,000, it's going to be 8,464. The next category, we're going to be 13,103. And the next category, 7,845. And then we are going to do a 1,593 here and 122. Every category has increased. We're going to see how. So obviously the graph has updated, so now we need to set up the new equation for the chart. So before the y-intercept was 13,921, signifying that this was basically the average the average distribution of UTXO wallet addresses. But it's not necessarily the correct, because once again there's a lot of dust on the left side, so towards the Lovelaces. And a lot of people that have larger wallets own a lot of those dust wallets, so it would shift this graph a little bit to the right, so it would be a longer tail here skewed to the left. But so this number right here, this total number of wallet addresses, before it was 266,342. So let's just do a quick calculation to see the wallet growth. We're going to do this minus 266,342, and we are left with 3,514 new UTXO wallet addresses. So let us set the equation quickly. Okay, hold on one second. Let me display the equation on the chart. And obviously you can see here that the new number here, hold on. So the new number here now is 14,160. So obviously there are more whales in the game, there are more sharks, people are accumulating. It is accumulation season. So, this bear market, it's terrible, but obviously people are still accumulating Cardano. And this is not financial advice, I'm just looking at the statistics. This is what the statistics say. The statistics don't lie. The average number is increasing. So it was 13,921 before. So let's see what that what the difference was in the number of Cardano minus 13,921, and we're going to multiply this by the current price, which is it was like 11 cents last time I checked, but I forgot to add that. So we're going to do this times this cell right here, and so people have increased that average has increased by a total of $27 US. So people have added on average to the number of ADA UTXO transactions for number of so this access needs to be changed as well. So it's number of UTXO transactions, because each address doesn't correspond to one particular person, but it's on average has increased $27 US. So take that information and do what you like. This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice. So do it. I'm just going to continue doing these analyses. Let me know if you want me to continue doing them. I know this video was very long. Maybe I have to shorten it a little bit. I'm sorry. I just get very excited, and I look at this for I look at these things for a long time. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. And once again, thank you, vantuz-subhuman. You can see him on the Cardano forum. He's doing a lot of great things. Thank you, Ruslan. And then also thank you, Marcus werkof on the Cardano forum. Thanks for all of your help. And I appreciate everyone here. Thank you for helping my channel grow. I'm really having a great time. This is a blast. I'm talking with so many cool and interesting people. So reach out to me. I'm here to speak, and have a great week. Thank you.